violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, in school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let's get into the video.
This just in, U.S. Marshals arrest a man accused of raping a 5-year-old girl in Little Rock. DeMarcus George is being booked into the Pulaski County Jail right now.
Wow. So in this story, this guy, DeMarcus George, basically this 6-year-old girl, the reason why they figured out what happened is because she had an STI, which is a sexually transmitted infection. And they figured out that this guy, DeMarcus George, was pimping her. I mean, these dudes nowadays, it's getting worse and worse. It really is.
We'll have more information tonight and also on THV11.com.
So let's get into this story, man. 2 Arkansas men confessed to taking advantage of a 6-year-old girl, which gave her multiple STIs. 2 Arkansas men have confessed to taking advantage of a 6-year-old girl after a hospital found she was suffering from multiple STIs. DeMarcus George, 27, and Mario Waters, 33. So a 27-year-old man and a 33-year-old man were taking advantage of a 6-year-old girl. And this is in Arkansas, so this is the South. This is the South, y'all, man. They admitted during a federal court hearing in Little Rock last week that they had intercoursal contact with the little girl and were involved in trafficking her. 2 men pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit intercourse trafficking of the girl in a plea deal that will cancel their upcoming jury trial and spare the 6-year-old girl from having to testify. Authorities narrowed in on George and Waters after the girl was taken to Arkansas Children's Hospital in February 2018, suffering from symptoms that doctors later determined were caused by the STIs. The girl later told FBI investigators that George and Waters had taken advantage of her in a hotel room, prosecutors said. Man, what a brave little girl, bruh. Honestly. I mean, a 6-year-old girl to come out and bravely, tell on her accusers. And this is why we need to stop talking about that no snitching, because we got dudes like this. And no, it ain't no street justice coming for them or nothing like that. Ain't nobody finna spin the block for this 6-year-old girl. Meanwhile, investigators also located in the hotel in Little Rock where the offenses occurred based on descriptions provided by the victim, including that a curtain was in the middle of the room and a specific picture was hanging on the wall. Wow, and that girl's traumatized. She probably recognized everything in that room. Like, that room will never leave her thoughts, and she'll probably be haunted by that, man. The girl later told investigators that DeMarcus George pictured and Mario Waters had taken advantage of her in a hotel room. So this is the guy. What a piece of crap. Okay. The hotel's financial records showed the girl's mother, who has since lost custody of the child, had paid for a room with a credit card in March 2018. So the mom was helping pimp the child out. Wow. The unspeakable crimes committed against this child remind us of how vitally important it is to have law enforcement officers willing to investigate to put a stop to these horrific actions, Acting U.S. Attorney Jonathan D. Ross said in a statement. These guilty pleas will spare the young victim from having to relive her experience on the witness stand at a trial. The 2 men, who are facing up to life in prison, will be sentenced at a later date. And yeah, they deserve to go under the jail. They deserve to be executed. Honestly.
A mother's love is sometimes tough love. 18-year-old Jaden Glasper is in jail charged with second-degree murder. A phone call from his mother led police to him. According to a court affidavit, Horn Lake police received a call from a woman advising that her son had shot someone in Memphis.
So I know that we've already done this story on this channel, but I wanted to bring it back to Memphis because there's something specifically going on in Memphis. There are things going on in Memphis that people are not talking about. These shootings occur often, and I know what everybody's waiting for me to talk about in this video, but I'm not going to get to it yet. These shootings occur often in Memphis, and there's no highlights. There's nobody who's talking about it. It's just, you know, left up in the air, and people understand what's going on, but they're just, I mean, it's pretty much quiet about it.
They soon learned from Memphis police of a shooting on Comanche and Parkway Village Wednesday, where one person died. Glasper confessed to police, saying he shot the victim because he was afraid.
Now, that mother, she went a long way. I admire what she did, but that would be tough for most mothers to do. In one way, it's a mother's love of actually protecting her son, knowing that he had done something terribly wrong and getting him turned in.
As tough as it likely was, community leaders say if we want to decrease crime, this is how we do it.
Yeah, and that's these mamas know, these aunties know. So for y'all to say, oh well, we can't snitch because nobody really know who do it. Yeah, we know who doing this. We know your cousin Ray been shooting. You know, been playing with guns, just got his hands on his guns. Now it's trigger finger itching. You know this. You know Marquavius up there, you know, cutting the fool. Couldn't sit still in class. Now he on the streets wreaking havoc. We know this.
By speaking up and holding those around us accountable.
If we're silent, if we don't say anything about the crimes that we know happen, that we witness, we're contributing to the crime. We're almost an accessory to it.
Adding in many cases, our voice could be the difference in life and death.
It's not snitching, it's saving lives, it's protecting our communities, it's making our communities safer to live in.
Reporting in Parkway Village, Janae Lewis, WREG News Channel.
Memphis police are conducting an investigation in the Nutbush area after a woman was found dead. Investigators say this woman...
So pay attention, they're killing women. They're killing women in Memphis. I mean, they're killing women everywhere, especially black women. But you know, you don't hear about these stories for reasons that we all know. The liberal media does not want to shed a light on the violence that's going on in inner cities amongst black people because it goes against their narrative. All right. But I do these stories all the time. So when people try and argue with me about like, oh, well, white people do it. No, they don't. Because when I get reports of these shootings in these stories, they're not doing it at the volume that we're doing it for the tiny amount that we make up of this country. Not tiny, but I mean, we're only 12% of this country, but we're making up a huge volume of amount of the violent crimes.
A woman was found with a gunshot wound inside a vehicle on Print Avenue yesterday, right down the street from Memphis Academy of Health Sciences High School. Her name has not been released, but if you have any information, please call or text Crime Stoppers anonymously. That number is 901-528-CASH.
New numbers from the Memphis Police Department reveal a stunning statistic. 25 children have been killed in our city this year. The latest.
Wow. 25 children killed in one city. One city. But you guys, you got to share the videos for one. You got to like, comment, share. But it's like they're not even letting you know that the city is dangerous. Like it's an unspoken thing. Okay? It's an unspoken thing. But who wants to put their kids in a school district where 20 of the kids have been shot and killed?
Emmett Beasley, a 16-year-old whose family confirms he was killed Saturday night.
Beasley was a junior at Southwind High School, where Action News 5's Parker King now joins us live with more on this case. Parker.
Yeah, Joe Conji, a couple of hours ago, Beasley would have been leaving school here at Southwind High School. His mother tells us her son was a normal kid with a busy life. At this point, would have been either on his way to work at the local Wendy's or at the recording studio where he would work on his music.
There are remnants of a crime scene on Hunter Street in North Memphis, with investigators still canvassing the area after a shooting left 16-year-old Emmett Beasley dead and his 15-year-old.
So notice how It looks like he's throwing up some gang signs in the picture, unfortunately. So that might be a contributor to why they targeted him or why he was targeted.
Year-old cousin in critical condition in the hospital. Beasley, who lives in southeast Shelby County, was here on Saturday for a funeral.
Never thought my son would get gunned down.
So with this story, basically what happened was the young man was talking a whole bunch of cash. He was talking a whole bunch of cash stuff on social media, on live. Apparently he was killed on live at a funeral. He attended a funeral of another friend that was killed, and he was talking like, oh, y'all ain't finna do this, da 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 da, and they aired the funeral out.
Another child's funeral.
Beasley's mother, Chastity Graham, was there with him.
It was kids following behind the casket in a funeral procession. Personally, I was in my car behind the walking kids. Heard gunshots ring out. I went to help, not knowing my son was laying in the street dead.
Beasley's death is now number 25 in child homicides in Memphis this year. 18 of those murders and 7 negligent homicides. Graham says her son was an up-and-coming rapper. His music videos rack.
So we've told you about these rappers. They're a target. They're making themselves a target. They're speaking a whole bunch of death and destruction into the ethosphere, and a lot of them are getting back that energy that they're speaking. Now, in this case, his brother was beefing with a particular group, and he was going back and forth with them on social media. But what the parents are saying is that even though he rapped this type of stuff, he wasn't really like that. You know, apparently he was like that enough to talk like he was like it. So that's what I'll say.
Picking up tens of thousands of views on YouTube. We were told Beasley had even just auditioned with 1017 Records for a possible record deal. His 2 sisters were with Graham today.
If I ever needed anything or vice versa, like, he was my first call. I don't know what I'm gonna do without him. He was really my best.
I'm not gonna lie. She's a beautiful young lady, but y'all gotta chill on these eyelashes, bruh. That's ridiculous.
And I love him.
For now,
Jesus
Graham's
Christ.
priority is burying her son Emmett. But
so honestly, you know, no disrespect to the young brother, man. R.I.P. But it's like he's doing the typical mumble rapper type stuff, and we know where that path leads down.
Later, she plans to be an advocate to bring down the overall level of gun violence in Memphis and Shelby County.
I do not want to see another child life taken senseless like my son.
Now, this is an ongoing investigation with the Memphis Police Department. They tell us the suspects fled the scene in a black Jeep. Anyone with information into this crime is asked to call local Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. As for here at Southwind High School, grief counselors are being offered to support both students and staff. Live in Shelby County, Parker King, Action News 5.
All right, guys. So for the moment you've all been waiting for, rapper Young Dolph was shot and taken out in Memphis, law enforcement sources say. We all know that he's been shot at multiple times. He's been going back and forth with different rappers. He made the song 100 Shots. And it's honestly, it's predictable. It's typical of these rap situations. And, you know, I can have some type of sympathy for this situation, but a lot of times it is hard because man, these dudes don't really speak on the stories that I just went over that are going on in Memphis every day. So let's get into it. Rapper Young Dolph taken out. Maurice Hill, the owner of the shop where the shooting happened, Makita's Butter Cookies, told Fox 13 his employees said Young Dolph, 36, walked into the store to buy some cookies. Someone then drove up and then shot and took him out at 1 p.m. Wednesday at their bakery in South Memphis. You can't even get cookies in the hood without getting taken out. The rapper, whose real name was Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., is well known in the Memphis community. In 2016, he released debut studio album, King of Memphis. As Fox Crews reported from the scene, a massive crowd gathered around, some people laying on the ground in tears. Young Dolph is well known for handing out turkeys around Thanksgiving in Memphis, speaking to school children, and donating money to his former high school, Hamilton High School. So he got killed in his own hood.
We can see a very well-known car. We've probably seen it in a lot of rap videos. We've probably seen it on Instagram several or so times. We've probably seen it on Facebook. We know who that car belongs to. You've seen that car before. You can see that Memphis police are going in and out of Makeda's right now. We see homicide detectives. We see felony response on the scene. We see a lot of top brass from the Memphis Police Department on the scene.
So you see, I mean, they lit him up, man, for getting cookies. I mean, obviously he was involved in some very probably treacherous and debaucherous things, according to his music and the type of stuff that he speaks. And he had enemies in Memphis. So for him to move around the way that he did in Memphis without security and whatnot, kind of foolish.
And it continues to grow. I don't know if you can hear it, but Southgate, pan down. You can see people are just hit with emotion here on this scene. A lot of the victim's family is on the other side of the tape on Joy Lane. You can see a lot of the family, the sisters, I believe, of the victim right there at the barricade. A lot of these stores have been told to shut down. Until further notice, because it's growing.
Oh my God. Damn, they just killed Dolph, y'all. Y'all see his arm hanging out the window?
Took him out while he was getting back in the car.
Yeah, that boy car right
there. Damn.
I mean, and this is like, it's not, honestly, it's really not a shock to me, man. Like, because whenever a rapper gets taken out, I'm just like, I'm almost numb to it. And it upsets me because these guys don't speak about what's going on in their community. That's the biggest thing that upsets me. And when they do, they're glorifying it. So obviously, I'm not saying that he deserved this, but I just don't get why you would go back to the hood that you have beef with. Probably feel comfortable in your hometown, but this ain't it. It never has been.
Damn, look at Dolph.
So you heard what she said. Them folks be on some hating stuff because they ain't getting no money. But what about all the cash stuff that he's talking about, these rival gangs in his hood, like in his area, in his hometown? Like, it's almost like he brought this up on himself. It's almost like he spoke it into existence.
Right here on Airways and Ketchum. Look, he gonna try to block the view. Garbage ass.
Wow. Yeah, this wind is crazy, but y'all see what's going on, man. I do these stories all the time. We've done stories in Memphis. We know what's going on. I bring awareness to the people who most people are not speaking about. So the fact that he's just a celebrity, honestly, what this ends up amounting to is him becoming just another statistic. Okay? Because he's not the only one. Remember, we just did a story. 25 children have been shot and killed. Seven of them were negligent homicide, meaning they was probably playing with a gun in a music video. But 25 kids shot and killed in Memphis, but this is the only one that gets national news coverage. This is the only one that's on the hip hop blogs. So, although it's upsetting, we want the noise on all of these people who are getting killed. So we'll show you the gun memorial. This is the young lady who was killed, who I did a story on. This is the brother who was killed by that 16-year-old who his mom told on him. Look at this brother. An 18-year-old kills a 25-year-old. Another black woman. Okay. Look at this. This is what's happening when you talk about protect black women. All these black people in Memphis. And we don't know none of them. You don't know one of their names. But we all know who Young Dolph is.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.